Hi everyone, my name is Hope Friedman and I'm the writer of the Go-To Guide to Empowering Our Youth. I'm going to present my screen and we'll get into talking about it. Okay, so this is my first webinar I'll be talking about, but I'm going to talk more about what's going to be discussed and more about my book in a little bit. I'm going to try not to read off my script too much. I'm going to try to be fluid and in the moment so you can learn more about me and the book and not just the words I wrote down earlier. But also, I'm sorry for any interruptions, background noise. It's a little bit hectic here, so I hope you enjoy my presentation. So let's begin. Let's talk a little bit about who I am and my purpose for this video. So as I said before, my name is Hope Friedman. I am a high school student right now and actively participate in Girl Scouts. If you don't know what that is, it's an organization similar to Boy Scouts, if you know what that is, that empowers young girls and teaches them to be independent and empowering. To begin the process for your Gold Award, which is what this book was kind of for, you need to obtain your Bronze and Silver Award. But I'll cover that process more later. But the most important thing you need to know right now is that the Gold Award is the highest honor a Girl Scout can be awarded, and it's what my book was written for. A little bit more about me, though. I love helping my community outside of Girl Scouts. I love to kill two birds with one stone, so I'll let you know that I also have a website advocating for equal medical access, which is just another community I love to help, the medical community. Hopefully in the future I could be part of it, but the website is called equalmedicalaccess.org, and I would love if you want to check that out and show some support over there. Other than that, though, I like helping in my school community when I tutor and show support through honor societies and volunteer work. And then, last but not least, as I stated before, I'm a Girl Scout. I'm in the Girl Scout community. It's something I actively strive to help, and I lean on it for support no matter what. No matter the scenario, the situation. Love Girl Scouts. So, let's get into some technical stuff. Over here in the corner, I have the cover for my book. This is what it will look like when you search it up on Apple Books. It's currently on Apple Books for free, and hopefully in the future will show up on some other prominent sites, maybe Barnes & Noble or Libby, Overdrive, some type of stuff like that. Hopefully in the future. It will be free no matter what, though. For the book, I wrote down some important factors for writing the book and features about it. First, my main goal was always empowering children. But what's special about my book is that it's not directed towards the kids. It's directed towards their parents, but also just educators and people who work with kids. You may be saying there's guides all over the internet. And while yes, that's true, this was written with children in mind because I am a child, and I tried using my own experiences to guide the book, which is also why in every chapter I wrote about my thoughts and opinions. I wrote about my thoughts and opinions so that adults can understand from the eyes of a child what it's like to experience these traits and how it feels to learn about it. Next, I want to embrace the emotions. Something that I wrote at the end of my introduction chapter, I think that's what you call it. I wrote, quote, "This book isn't here to force traits onto children. It's here to bring out what's already inside of them and let it shine." And that is truly my intentions. All kids have emotions, and I want to show adults how to bring it out of them, not just force it. The next is also kind of connected because it's not about forcing it, but it's kind of giving them a basis, teaching them, giving them somewhere to start and understand what it is. For example, I was talking to my little cousin. He was telling me how he didn't know the difference between empathy and sympathy, which is pretty common for little kids. But In this case, I taught him about it. I taught him about the difference and showing him the correct ways to show it, which is the correct thing. I shouldn't be just telling him how to do it if he doesn't know what it is. My next bullets are inclusivity and accessibility. These go hand in hand because my book can be used for all types of people. It's not just for parents, it's for educators, it's for Girl Scout troop leaders, Boy Scout troop leaders, people who want to learn more about kids. Maybe they are a kid and they want to know how children learn. Or maybe they're just someone who works with kids in general. For the accessibility, though, I think Apple Books is extremely accessible for all types of people. I know in my life, at least, I feel like everyone owns an Apple device, whether it's a MacBook or an iPhone. And I think it's really easy to get Apple Books. I don't know if you can still get it on maybe Windows, but I'm sure there's still some sort of way to get it. Especially because my book is free, I want it to be available for everyone. I don't want you to have to pay $3 to get the book. That's just not what the purpose was. So I hope maybe in the future to just put out a PDF on the internet and have it available for everyone in a broad way, not just through Apple Books. But as I said before too, I want to be on stuff like Barnes & Noble maybe, or Overdrive, something like that, so it's not just in one place. But that seems like that's definitely something for the future. In the book, I go through 8 main chapters. Of course, I started with an introduction and ended with a conclusion, but as for the traits, I talked about the following in this specific order too: kindness, confidence, empathy and sympathy, leadership, being an upstander, communication, gratitude, and honesty. I wrote this book so that you don't have to go through every single chapter to understand the common theme, which is teaching that skill or learning about it or teaching children, but you don't have to go through kindness and then read confidence and then empathy and sympathy. It's written so that you can just skip around. If I want to teach my child just about communication, then you can go to that. And that's the way I wrote it. So you can just skip around, go to what you need, what you want to learn about, and it's right there for you in one place. I think for me, personally, the chapters that, in terms of writing, that were my favorite was probably leadership. It's really big for me, especially being a Girl Scout. Leadership is something that's always been ingrained in my mind. And honestly, it really does go along with being an upstander, because to be an upstander, you need to be a leader, and to be a leader, you need to be an upstander. So both of them are really my favorites, especially writing, but just in general. Next, I want to briefly talk about what's going to be discussed in each video I'll be making. These aren't really live, so I don't know if it's still considered a webinar, but that's what I'm going to be considering it. And maybe in the future, I can go live. I will be able to take in comments and talk about that. So even if it's not live, it can still be some sort of interaction. So each day we'll have a new chapter discussed. Today is the first video, so it's the first chapter, which is kindness. But each video will be its own video, hopefully around an hour long. I will do an overview and book reading. So these are going to be a little bit lengthy, especially in the middle, because it's going to be very content-based. It's going to be very what's in my book, what's written down word for word. But there are a lot of things that I didn't write down here, because that would take forever to read, and I don't have forever. So I did leave out some things purposely so that you can download the book and read more about it yourself and have an understanding for yourself. But it will have an overview of my process while I read through the different subcategories in the chapter, so you understand my thoughts. I will talk about the writing process and my why. So if you are wanting to write a book and you want to know, how did I publish it? How did I write it? How long did it take me? You can stick around to the end and I will talk about that more. And then my why, of course, why I wrote this. Again, talk about it later. Then I will talk about Girl Scouts and my overall journey, which is something huge for me. Girl Scouts is a big part of my life, especially because it's not over, but it is coming to the end of this very long journey I've been on. So I do want to talk about that more and maybe encourage some other people to be Girl Scouts and talk about my experiences. And then throughout, I will talk about fun and personal stories, examples, times in my life. It'll just be hopefully overall good time that you learn something about me, but also the book. As I said, today's chapter is kindness. This quote is taken directly from my book, from the first line of the first chapter. It says, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, being kind is defined as having a sympathetic and helpful nature. If you go through and read my book, you'll also notice that I wrote other people's opinions and definitions down from friends, family, and pretty much anyone who wanted to help me during the process. Which is also just another important thing that I can talk about later, having people to rely on, friends, and during the writing process, it could take a long time, so it's important. But it's not, if you want to read this book to learn more about your 5-year-old's emotions and how they learn, it's very different than how I learn, because I'm not 5 and we learn in very different ways. So having other people's definitions and what they think is kindness, I think, is really important for adults to know about. And it does range. I have from 10 years old to 50 years old. There's a whole range of ages, how other people think. And honestly, I included adults' definitions so you can compare it. How does a 5-year-old think compared to a 50-year-old? What is the differences? Is the 5-year-old more simple? Are they missing something in their definition that can be taught to them? And I think this really prompts whoever's reading it to ask their child, ask whoever they're trying to teach this to, their class maybe, what is kindness? And they can get back a definition and understand, what do they need to know more about? Do they already know a lot? Do they know how to show it? So I think it's really important, and why I included other people's definitions. Next, I wrote about what it is and why it's important, just to clarify for the readers and make it really clear what I'm trying to get across. But just remember, as I read this, take it with a grain of salt, because everyone's different and it can have different meanings for everyone. But this is just from my experiences, what I know about kindness. But again, like I said before, a 5-year-old knows it a lot different than a 50-year-old. So base this off of your child and what they think is kindness, or what you think is kindness, and why it's important to you, because kindness is important to different people for different things. Maybe kindness is important to one person in a verbal way. They like to be complimented, but to another person, kindness means nonverbal cues, like holding the door. So I'll read this, but again, take it with a grain of salt. Today, kindness is an often overlooked trait. This is because it is thought to be self-explanatory, but kindness ultimately stems from childhood. When parents teach or model what it means to be kind, the child is more likely to follow their lead. This thought of kindness being self-explanatory is the reason so many children are uneducated about it, about what it is and how to show it. Kindness is such a small but important part of our lives that it takes so little time but means so much. So it's very important to teach the youth to do the same, so they grow up and can teach their children the same. I think this is really important in general, no matter what age, but everyone has different thoughts about it, so you are allowed to have your own opinions, of course. How do we teach it? So again, I'm going to be reading it from my book, but it's a little bit longer, so I couldn't directly paste down to the slides, but I will read it from my book now. So the next subcategory that is in every chapter, I do this in every chapter, is how do we teach it? This is really important part of each chapter because it's the foundation for how the child will learn the skill and enforce it more if they already know what it is maybe. So directly from the book I wrote, being able to talk with children about key concepts like kindness is very important for helping them understand what kindness is and how to apply it in their lives. To do that, it's important to talk about the right things in a way that makes sense for their age. Below, I've put together a list of discussion topics that are appropriate for different age ranges. So I started off with 3 to 5 years old. So these are just some discussion topics, things you can talk to them about, ask them about, to really understand what they're thinking and if they know what these things are. So what does it mean to them to share toys? Saying please and thank you. Helping a friend who is sad. Taking turns while playing. Using kind words. This is more difficult for younger children because of their limited communication skills and ability to voice their opinions, so it's very important to model these skills. After someone holds the door for you, be sure to tell your child to say thank you and make it clear what you want them to say. Or when they want something, you should tell them to say please and help them understand why they're saying it. For example, correcting children after they use not nice words could be a great opportunity to talk to them about why it's important to use kinder words and how it might feel if someone said that to them. Next, 6 to 8-year-olds. How small acts like holding the door show kindness. Recognizing when someone needs help. Including others in games and activities. Apologizing and forgiving. Talking about feelings and how to respond kindly. Talking about feelings doesn't directly relate to kindness, but understanding themselves before helping others is incredibly important. 9 to 11 years old. Helping new students feel welcome, doing community service projects / helping our community, and respecting differences in others and ourselves. That's the end of my reading, but I want to just stress the last part. Respecting differences in others and ourselves is so important, especially for younger children. It really just sets the understanding of why we need to be kind, because not everybody is the same. Not everybody learns the same. Not everybody looks the same. And it's so important, especially for kids in today's world, to be kind to others and treat everybody with kindness. Especially, even if you can't see them, maybe if they don't have a visual difference, you should always treat someone with kindness because you don't know what they are going through. Alright, so that was a lot of information. So if you want to read more about it, you can always go through the book itself, download it, go through them, reread it, understand it for yourselves, maybe come up with some more topics that you can give to your child, questions, or maybe even set up a plan. Say I'll talk to them at dinner about this. But if you have any more specific questions, I'm going to be putting my email in the description. So any more specific questions, email me, talk to me, ask me. You have a specific question about your child. Maybe you have a whole class of children. You don't know what to talk to them about. I would love to help use my resources, what I know, to help you guide your talking experience. I don't know how to phrase that, but I can help you no matter what you're trying to deal with, and I would love to talk more about my book too, if that's just what you're talking about. Okay. Next is how to encourage and foster it. Hold on. Okay. So how to encourage and foster it. In this section, I have this section in every single book, in every single chapter. I put together activities, I put together books, resources, all that sort of stuff. You can find that in each chapter under the How to Encourage and Foster It section. And of course, in the resources, you can 100% look. They have, no matter what you're trying to teach, whatever resources I put, there will be guides, there will be activities, there will be a bunch of different things. So don't just use these 4 activities I have on the screen, because there are so many. these are just maybe some ideas, someone get started. So, but I will read what I have put down. Okay. First, I put kindness jar. Sorry, I have to find the sheet. I printed it out, but I'm a little bit messy. Okay, I'll just do some improv because I can't find it. Okay, kindness jar. So for this one, it is mainly, I'm sorry. Oh, guys, found it. Okay, kindness jar. So kids write acts that they witness or do on slips of paper and place them in a jar to read aloud later. Love this idea. Did this when I was younger. Really just shows it, and you can put it in other people's jars too. Maybe a nice compliment or something that they did. I don't know. It makes the children feel really proud, and I think that's really important to show that they're doing the right thing, and it's important. Next, kindness bingo. A bingo board with acts like helped clean up or said thank you to track and reward kind behaviors. Again, I love this activity, especially for younger children. It doesn't take a lot of focus, so if they don't have a large attention span, they can still do this activity, and it will hopefully still help them. But it also, when you put down these types of things like help clean up or say thank you, they understand what are some examples of kind acts that they can do. So in the future that they can do it, because maybe they don't know specific kind acts that they can do. Maybe they don't know they're being kind or how to show it. So I think that's really important. But I think it's important to note too that this needs to be done when they're younger, because you don't want to teach them that being kind is something that you need to get something in response, a reward for doing it. Because if you're teaching them that when you clean up, after you make a mess, they're supposed to get a sticker after it. Because that's not true. In the real world, when they grow up, they won't get a sticker after cleaning up a mess or saying thank you. It's just not how it works. So I think it's important to just teach them that, like, the reward is kind of like an internal reward. It's kind of how you feel after, how you make someone else feel. So helping them understand that if they don't get something in return, like they don't get a thank you or something in return, that it's okay. And that not everyone responds in the same ways, but you can still feel the same way. Next, I put kindness chain. Link paper strings together, each with a kind act written on it, to form a growing visual of their impact. I love this too. I think it's really important. It does really show the impact of what they're doing. You can see it. Yeah, I really like this one, and I think this should be done after the bingo. You can say, did you clean up? Did you say thank you? And then link it all together and show what they're doing. Next is a kindness catcher. It's a paper fortune teller, and you can write down kind actions inside and let kids play it to select one to do. So they might do it, says, hold the door open for someone tomorrow. Tomorrow they hold the door open for someone tomorrow. And it's kind of like a little game for them to do. And these, again, are not something you can do word for word if you don't want to. These are just ideas. If you want to come up with your own, be my guest. It would be perfect. And there's so many different resources you can get ideas from too, if you don't like these. And I can even think of another one right now, like making a journal, coloring it with them, having fun making it, and making a goal. Say, I'm going to do 10 kind things the next week, and come back into the journal and write what they did, and write how it made them feel, how they think it made the other person feel. And I think it'll really motivate them to do nice things for others and understand, like, this is not something you need to get rewarded from, but it's something that can make you feel better about yourself and others. Okay, next, still in the how to encourage and foster it section, we have the books. These are just some books that I found. There's so many online, but these are some of the good ones I found that I read when I was younger and found great reviews for. So the first one is Have You Filled a Bucket Today by Carol McLeod. Love this one. I read it in 4th grade. It's really about just being a bucket filler, giving people compliments, doing kind acts. And even afterwards, we made like the kindness jars. We made jars for other people and put kind things like your outfit looks really nice today, and we put it in their bucket so they could read it later and feel good about themselves, and we could feel better about ourselves because we're doing kind things. So I think that was just a really good book to read and maybe even do an activity after. Next is Kindness is My Superpower by Alicia Ortega. From the reviews, I thought this was a really good book to include. And then same with Try a Little Kindness by Henry Cole. And I Walk with Vanessa by, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, but Kara Kowaite. Karaskowaite. Sorry if I got that wrong, but these are all just great books to teach kindness. And there's so many online too, so many. Next, still in the same section, we have resources. So the first resource that I found was the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. I found this one online. I saw it. I thought this was amazing. It has activities, pages, like activity pages, guides for parents, kids. I thought it was just really cute, and it was really something that can definitely help parents. I thought it was really good. This one's very aimed towards kindness, but still very good. Which is what I'm trying to do here anyways, teach kindness. So these are kindness, but I said that because the next resource is PBS Parents. I don't have enough words to describe how much I love PBS Parents. This is not just for kindness, but it is for so many different things. They teach about leadership. They teach about empathy. They teach about so many different things. And yes, it's called PBS Parents, but it can be used for parents. It can be used for educators. It can be used for any type of adult. It is so amazing. It has videos. It has videos for parents, videos for kids, activities based on what you want to teach them and their age range. If you go through my chapters, my book, for the resource sections in each chapter, 75 to 50% of the time, you will see PBS Parents because that's how much I love it. It is so amazing, and I really strongly advise it. Next, I put something called schoolofkindness.org. Again, similar to Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, but they have guides online. This is more maybe for schools because you can pay for them. They're a little bit more money, but they have great resources too. And I think it's still a good place to go, especially if you're a teacher or a school. Great resources. Next, personal thoughts. This is also going to be taken straight from my book. It's a little bit more lengthy, but this is my personal favorite section of the books. And it sounds a little maybe like selfish because this is my personal thoughts, but it's not selfish. I think I like this section because it's so like unique to my book. It's so specific to what I think, and I think it's really important and really cool for parents to understand like how I'm thinking and more specific things about how I wrote this section and why I wrote this section. So I'll read it, but I just love this section. Okay. Children are widely known for speaking their minds and not being afraid to say comments that might hurt others. At their age, they are navigating the world and don't understand the impact of their words. This isn't an impact of parenting or what they learn in school, but instead a typical thing that children do. Despite it hurting people's feelings, it's actually a great learning opportunity and time to bring up some of the discussion topics above or have a meaningful conversation with your child about their actions. As a child, I was always taught to treat others how you want to be treated. The golden rule, of course. And I would always scoff and look away. But it's true. If they were the one experiencing the mean comments or harmful acts, they would be hurt too. This is so important to This is why it's so important to teach kindness. When I was younger, I was taught a great lesson at my sleepaway camp about kindness. It's simple, but it has a great impact. My camp counselor grabbed a piece of paper and told us to tell the paper mean comments. And of course, you can do this along with me too if you want, or read the book later and do it too, but it's a great activity. So everyone around me, so she grabbed a piece of paper and told us to tell the paper mean comments. Everyone around me started screaming comments like, "You're ugly," or "I don't like your shirt." And with every comment, she would crumple up the side of the paper, and so finally it was just one big crumpled ball. She then told us to compliment the paper and tell it nice things. Once again, the people around me started shouting, "I like your hair," and "Your shoes are nice." And with every compliment, she would smooth it and try to straighten it. Once the paper was fully straightened, she told us to closely look at it. It had folds and creases in the paper despite it looking straight. She told us that despite our attempts at making them feel better, we can never take back the original mean comments we first made. This really ingrained in my mind that no matter how much we apologize, those comments and mean acts will stick with someone forever, no matter how much they seem put together. I didn't include this activity under how to encourage and foster it section because I truly think that this activity deserved more area to be explained and how the impact and show the impact it had on me. I do highly recommend this activity though. I often work with children in my community and can see the impact on them too. While I haven't shown them these activities, I do see how they react when others give them compliment or do nice acts for them. They might seem more timid at first, but when they get a compliment, you can see the confidence build up and their shyness disappear. Before writing this book, I conducted a survey asking questions to get more insight into details for the book. One of the questions I asked was, what quality do you believe to be the most important trait for children to learn? And there was an overwhelming amount of entries saying that kindness was the most important. I think these parents and educators and adults see the same thing I see when kids get complimented. They see how good the kids feel and they understand how much other kids need to display it. Because of the results, I chose to do kindness category first and can't wait to continue educating and spreading more ways for kids to be leaders and feel comfortable in their bodies. So that was my reading of my personal thoughts section of the book. And that was actually the last reading of the book because that was the last section of the book. It's not the last section of the presentation though. There's still some more to be covered, but for the book content itself, that's it. And I think it is not too long. It's a good amount of time. It really packs everything into a good amount of content. So that's what I really like about it. And of course, you can go back and read it at any point. It's free on Apple Books. Okay. Next, we have the writing process. So, these are just a few questions and things I want to talk about through my experience of writing a book. First, how long? This is very general, but it means like how long did it take me? There's so many how longs. How long did it take me to write the book? How long should the book be? There's so many how longs, but I'll answer those too. So how long did it take me to write the book? This book specifically took me a lot of time because when you're doing the Girl Scout Gold Award too, you need to get it approved. I'll talk more about the process later, but there's a few steps you need to go through to get it approved. So I did a lot of drafts. I did a lot of writing, editing, a lot of stuff. But overall, it took me about 2 years or about 1.5 years, I'd say. How long should the book be? So this is different for everyone's book. This is different. For me specifically, I was writing it guided towards adults, educators, parents, all sorts of that stuff. But I also made mine in a way where you can skip around for each chapter. So it didn't really matter how long, because you don't need to read it in order. There's no beginning and end, except for the introduction and conclusion. But if you're writing a book for, like a chapter book for older kids, you want to make it longer, definitely. But if you're making a little kid book, a little picture book, don't make it like 100 pages. It should be 20 pages. Something simple that they can read in one sitting, but they can still understand. But it's really different for every single book. And something that really ties along with that is others' opinions, which is my next bullet point. When you are writing a book, you need to get so many people's opinions. You can do questionnaires like I did. You can talk to family and friends around you. You can talk to people who might want to read your book in the future, like parents. Talk to some of them. See what they would like. If they want a book if they would rather read a book that's 70 pages versus 100 pages. But just in general, throughout the writing process, you need to have a group of people around you to help you. Because when you're writing, it does seem like you are alone in the process, but you're really not. There's so many people around you who would love to help and support. So it's really just finding that group of people that can help you. And just put out some pages of your book. Ask, would people read this? Is this good? You really need other people's opinions. It just is part of the process. Next, getting the word across. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making presentations on each chapter and telling other people about what it is and how to, where to access it, how to read it. But I know there's a lot of other ways to do this. You can, like me, make YouTube videos, but you can also talk to people in your school. Put on in-person presentations. Go to your local library, put up flyers. Go to Barnes & Noble, talk to them, see if you can set up a stand and talk to people about your book. There are so many ways you can get your word across. It's just a matter of taking it day by day. You don't want to start off really big and say, I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble, I'm going to put up the book, and I'm going to sell a bunch of copies. Before even writing the book, you need to start day by day. You need to get your team together, you need to write the book, and then figure out from there what is best step for me. Because maybe it's not Barnes & Noble. Maybe it's going to your local cafe and talking to them. It's very based on what you need in the moment. But I would not recommend starting off really large and struggling to put all the pieces together when you could just go one by one. Next is the publishing process. So for me specifically, I use something called Apple Pages. It is, I'm not sure if you can get it on another device other than Apple, but for me specifically, I use Apple Pages. It was really easy to write it on, and it was very easy to publish it on Apple Books afterwards. But that is in no means the only way to publish to Apple Books specifically. I don't know about other sites, but for Apple Books, it is very important to, Apple Books, you can really just put it anyways. All you need is like a PDF of the whole book, a PDF of the sample, and then like a JPEG of your, cover page. But for me, Apple Pages just made it really easy to do that, and it really didn't hold me back from publishing it to other sites and uploading it. And it's all free. And something I also loved, so for my book specifically, my goal the whole time was for it to be free. It was never my intentions were never to put it up for money, especially because it's part of my Gold Award project. So I did want it to be something that's free. So Apple Books never maybe put in my payment information, so I wouldn't know how that would work if you want to make money off of it. But if you are wanting to make it free and you don't really have any credit card information, you don't really want to put that in, you don't have to. You do not have to at all. I cannot speak for Barnes & Noble or any of these other sites, but Apple Books, amazing. Took total 72 hours, just had to upload those 3 things, and then go into a waiting process to see if my book gets approved. And their customer service also helped me a lot. I accidentally published it twice and had to take it down, and I emailed Apple support, and they got back to me very quickly and helped me take it down. So I do very much recommend. Okay. Next is, but also if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me, you can always email me. Like I said in the description, my email will be there. But you can also go on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. There are resources all around there to give you the help you need, specific questions, anything like that. Because I'm not the only person who can help. I'm not super knowledgeable about that, so I definitely look online first. Okay, next, Girl Scouts and Gold Award information. This is super big. I loved Girl Scouts. There is so much I can say. This is about my 10th year, I want to say, in Girl Scouts, and it's coming to my final one. I am almost a senior in high school, so once you are at the end of senior year, you are no longer considered a Girl Scout. Although you are a Girl Scout, your experiences and the things you take away will always be with you. You might not physically be a Girl Scout anymore, but you will always, have the Girl Scout mentality, if you know what I mean. You will always be a Girl Scout, just maybe not physically. But Girl Scouts was an amazing experience for me. The friends you make will stick with you for life. They will always be there to support you. And even the Girl Scout community will always be there to support you. It's just an amazing community, and I think there's so many resources you can get. There's so many resources. I would love to answer any questions about Girl Scouts, but reach out to your local community. Start a troop. My mom and my friend's mom started a troop together, and that's how we became. In first grade, we started a troop together. So it's all about just finding the right people and getting it all together. And honestly, I went on so many trips. I've learned so much new information. Whether it's we learned stuff from financial information to animals to medical stuff. We learned so much, and it's honestly what you want to learn about. It's not just, oh, you learned about this one week. No, it's a discussion every week. We do fun activities. We do it's just a great time, and I would recommend it to anyone. So next, I want to talk more about the Gold Award. So the Gold Award is the highest award that a Girl Scout can get. It's similar to an Eagle Scout award. I'm not 100% sure. My brother was in Boy Scouts, but I'm not super knowledgeable about that. So I just know that for Girl Scouts, the Gold Award is the highest you can get. In order to get it, you need to get a Bronze and Silver Award first. Or there's another way of getting it. I think you can do a few journeys. I'm not 100% sure. But the path I went down was I got my Bronze first and my Silver. So for my Bronze Award, I'm not specific on the hours. It took maybe 50 or 60, not 100%. But we made little libraries for our middle school. It made us feel very accomplished, but it was little libraries that had books in it, and we painted them, and we talked about it at PTA meetings, and it was a really fun experience. I will say it was very fun, and it's still in my middle school today. And a really big part about these projects is sustainability. Sustainability is so important. It is so important because you need to make sure that whatever you are making, whether it's a video or a product, needs to continue without your help, because you are not going to be able to check on it every single week when you go to college or later in your life. You want it to continue without you, and something that can just keep building and not have to just be a one and done kind of situation, because you want to help your community in the long term, not like a short term. Next, for my silver award, you can work with a small group. I think 2 to 3 people. I'm not sure. Or you can work with by yourself. And I chose to work by myself. I made YouTube videos online to talk about Girl Scouts, my experience, how to become a Girl Scout, how to just all sorts of stuff. And honestly, I'll even say to myself, this book wasn't originally going to be about empowering children in a general type of way. It was actually going to be about Girl Scouts. It was going to be about how to join Girl Scouts. What are some different patches you can get? It was going to be a huge book on Girl Scouts. But after talking with people and getting other people's opinions, I decided to change it a little bit, alter it, and get it to a way where it can help everyone, not just Girl Scouts, but so many different children. So I love being able to talk with other people, like I said before, and get ideas like that. But now I am doing my gold award, which is what I'm doing now. You have to get 80 hours, and it is a huge accomplishment. And in terms of after you get your gold award, you are a gold award Girl Scout, which is a huge honor. You can apply for sorry, I forgot the word, but you can apply for like things after you get it. I forgot it's called, but like money for college. That's what I'm basically trying to say. But you can apply for those kind of things. You can apply for, it just sticks with you for life. It's a great thing to have on your resume. It shows that you're well-rounded. You help your community. It's just a great thing to have on your, in your back pocket, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's really just a great thing overall, and I think it's helped me learn a little bit more about myself. Okay, this is the last section, the Q&A. I have compiled a bunch of questions that I've gotten from other people, and I would love to read it now. But I do want to say, before I do this, before I read my last section, that in every single video I will be making, it will continue with I will be re-talking about the about me, the writing process, all that kind of things. Those will all be re-talked about. Girl Scouts, everything. It won't be the same words. It won't be word for word, but it will be very similar because it's a big part of the videos, and I don't want it to be where you have to watch one video to understand the rest. So it will be repeated in every single section. So if you want to go watch my next video that I'll be making, then you might want to skip the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes and just continue to the content. Or just read the book if you want. But let's get into the Q&A. First question I have, what are some easy ways to show kindness every day? I put a bunch of examples in the presentation and in the book, but I'll give you some now. Holding the door open, saying please and thank you, just basic manners, but giving compliments, saying nice things. I like your shirt, I like your shoes. Maybe it could even be like giving critique. That could be kindness if you are being truly honest. It can be. And then there's a bunch of like nonverbal things you can talk about. You can say, even like, holding the door is nonverbal, but you can, I can't think of a lot off the top of my head, but it's really something that there are so many ways to show it, and so many different people feel kindness in a different way. So there's so many different things. Like even just giving gifts can be showing kindness. Okay. Next question. Can kindness really make a difference in someone's life? 100%. Yes, it can. Kindness, even like when you think of it, it's not just something that's, like I said before, I saw these kids get so much brighter when they got a compliment. It's not just a short-term thing. This isn't just like a one and done. If you keep giving kindness, you are going to keep getting kindness. And you will see it in return, and the levels will go higher and higher and higher, and it will truly make a difference. But like the thing is, you got to be consistent, and you got to keep showing that kindness, because that is the key. And it's really, really important. Just really important. So yes, it can make a difference. 3, why is it sometimes hard to be kind? So I think especially for younger children, like I said earlier, that they tend to say things that aren't the nicest. They don't think before saying it sometimes. I think it's hard to be kind because you don't truly know how it's gonna feel. This is a harder question for me to answer, honestly, but I think just everyone shows kindness in different ways and receives in different ways. It can be hard to maybe let your guard down and accept a compliment sometimes, or accept some kindness, but even like in our hectic lives, we have so much going on, sometimes just taking a second, saying something nice can be all the difference. So yes, it can be hard sometimes because of bustling lives. We are all busy. There's so many things, but in terms of that, it's just important to take some time, set it aside, and say something nice. Even if it's just to yourself. Like, self-kindness is very important. Is kindness the same as being nice? Yes, I do think so. I think that being kindness is very similar to being nice. I mean, they are synonyms, but being kindness isn't just about being nice. I feel like it has like a deeper meaning. It's more than just being nice. It's being empathetic. It's being understanding. There's so many other things than just being nice, but it is a way to be nice, if you understand. But next question, can you be kind without saying anything at all? Yes. Simple answer, yes. You can be kind by saying nonverbal things. Sorry, not saying, but showing nonverbal cues, like holding a door or complimenting. You don't have to be saying anything. How can we spread kindness in our school community? Our school or community, or school community, I don't know. Well, there are so many things to do. Again, like I said, this is like my golden example, but holding a door, you can do that anywhere. It really, really is. But you can also show kindness by like helping the teacher. Say like they're asking if someone can hand out papers. Say like, yeah, I can hand out papers. You know what I mean? So you can really just show kindness there. There are so many ways to show kindness. What can you do if someone doesn't return your kindness? And like I said, this does seem. This is something I discussed earlier. Not everyone shows kindness in the same way. Not everyone understands it in the same way. So, like I said, it's important to not just take this as a token economy. It's not just something you do it and get returned. Because not everyone does that. You might hold the door open for someone and they don't say thank you. But the thing is, you have to understand, like, you did something right. You need to feel a sense of, like, self-accomplishment. You did it right. And that's what's important. So, if someone doesn't return your kindness, just understand that you did the right thing, and it's still something that you should be proud of. And maybe there's something underlying. Maybe they are having a bad day. Maybe they're not feeling the best. So it's important to just stick to yourself. How can I remind myself to be kind more often? Seeing other people, seeing others is doing. I don't know, but. When you see someone else being kind, maybe it'll remind you to be kind. How to remind yourself, maybe keep a journal. Say, I'm going to do this next week. Or keep a jar and pick one out and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And just remind yourself, be kind. How does it make you feel? How does it make others feel? And it really shouldn't be something that you have to do. It's something that you should do. How does being kind help your mental health too? Being kind, yes, it helps your mental health. That wasn't the question, but being kind helps your mental health because it makes you feel better. It doesn't, again, it's not something that you should do because you're going to get something in return. You are doing it to make you feel better and to make the other person feel better. So I really do think that it's helping your mental health by just being able to give you the opportunity to help someone else in short terms. So yes, it does. Being kind does help your mental health. Can small acts of kindness just be just as powerful as big ones? 100%. 100%. Telling someone that they have maybe something on their shirt, that's something small, but it can really help someone, make someone feel better, make someone say, like, thank you so much. Like, it's not about doing these big things like writing a paper for someone else, although that could be nice and kind. It's not, you are still showing the same amount of kindness, I do think, and it doesn't matter. You can do something small, pick something up off the floor, pick a piece of trash up off the floor. That is a small thing, but it can mean so much. And again, if you do one thing, like even if it's small, it can inspire other people to do nice things too. So I think it's really important, even though it's small, you are still making a big difference, and it's important to understand that. Okay, Q&A section is done. So this is the last slide. Thank you so much for listening and staying along for this long journey. I hope you join me on the next video. I'll be talking about similar things, and I think the next one is confidence, and then on deck after that is sympathy and empathy, I'm pretty sure. So stay along for that. Email if any questions, and thank you so much for watching this video.